This is the Grow Podcast, and I'm Wendy Jo, and this is Ashley.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing really well. I'm excited about the topic today. We're talking about aura,
hmm
and I think it's a pretty vast topic. We're not going to cover everything in 30 minutes, but it's pretty interesting. So, are you able to see the energy fields around people, the aura?
I can sense them. Um, and I can sense when people's are really constricted and like cold. But for me, I feel like my personal journey with art is expanding my own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like so
I
that's
like that.
that's been my personal growth journey, right?
Uh-huh.
In the moment at least.
Well, I was sort of introduced to aura many years ago from one of my children who could see auras from at a really young age and would talk about them.
hmm
And I just thought it was really interesting that, he was so outspoken about it.
hmm
But apparently it was just very clear to him, must be, one of his gifts or something that is stronger. And just, he basically told me that whatever he sees kind of tells him whether he wants to be around that particular person.
Yeah.
Which, for a kid who's 3 or 4 years old, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
I thought, for him to see the color and be like, oh, that person has a lot of black around them. I don't want to be near them, or gray, or their energy colors. What did he would say to me? Look weak, like
Mm.
they don't look like they're healthy. They don't look
Yeah.
like they don't look like they feel good. That's what he would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah. Children are so interestingly intuitive in their own
Mhm.
way. Like, and I think that's why sometimes that the work around healing work comes into play is so you can discover your natural gifts,
Mhm.
the ones that are more dominant or you know most effective. I don't know that natural thing,
Right.
and
Right.
and a lot of times we squash that in our kids. I think it's very interesting that you took the time to listen to that because sometimes when they're real little and they can't articulate clearly, you're like,
Mhm.
kid, what are you talking about? Hush
Right.
up.
Right. Right. And I feel like spirit never, especially with children, they never want their life to be harder because of these things. So if a parent says that, likely it will shut off, right? For their own protection, they just won't see or feel it anymore. I don't know. I kind of um knew that in a way, that if I just let him talk about it, it was going to be better than, acting like it was a big deal. So I tried not to act like it was a big deal in any way and just let him tell me about it,
Yeah.
And I remember he wanted to play the violin from the time he was really small also. And I finally, when he was 5, he started with violin, really 4.5. But anyway, he said to me, the violin teacher has a huge aura. There's so many colors, and he told her that, and she thought it was pretty cool. So I think it's true if we just let our kids be and learn, and whatever we can learn from them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Were you the one that said, maybe it wasn't you? Were you the one that told me that people who play music have generally have a very expansive aura? Was that
Uh, no, I don't think it was, although I think that it may be true.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, things that affect the aura, so it's changing all the time. Like it's not like it's, oh, your aura has this color and it's always the same. It
yeah,
changes with your emotions, with your health, with fears. It'll shift and change with your energy levels. Um, but when I've seen people playing music and if I'm tapped in, yeah, it's, it's expansive and beautiful and moving.
Yeah. And I think the rationale, I wish I could remember where I heard this at. The rationale was that because they're always interacting with vibration, high vibration at that, like they align to that, the aura of even the sound of music, right? And
Right.
so, yeah, I don't know where I heard that at.
It makes perfect sense to me. And yeah, the vibrations, energy is all different forms,
Mhm.
sound is energy. The movement creates different energies. So yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Um, so I think, a lot of people want to be able to see it, or they see it and they're not sure what they're seeing, right? And one thing I always recommend is to do some type of color meditation to help you to kind of tap into it. So if you go on YouTube or any of the platforms, you can find color meditation. I have a simple one that I do with people that helps stimulate color, but there's plenty of them out there. And so what you're doing is just kind of tapping into it, feeling all the different colors, seeing them in your mind's eye, and it just stimulates that in your brain.
yeah, yeah. And attuning to the frequency of each of the colors, I think would probably be most important for someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would never see it. I've never done a color meditation, but I probably would never see it, but I would feel the color,
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
differences in the frequency. So
Right.
yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you feel it, Um, so, there's different, once you're tuned into the color through using a meditation or something like that, or even just looking at colors, go to the paint store and look at all the different colors that are out there. There's such a range of color so that you're kind of just tapped in and tuned into it.
Absolutely.
And that stimulates your mind for the beginning part, and then you can figure out how your own body tunes in. So it seems like for you, you've been learning about how you tune in with all different kinds of tools.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Everything to me has an energy. So while you were talking and saying that, I was wondering, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color,
Yeah,
it's pink.
really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
love pink.
Okay.
um, Pink, red, green, black. Those,
Interesting.
I love colors, so but I would say those are my favorites. Yeah.
Red, pink, green, black. Okay. So mine is like the deep, dark purple and blues,
Okay. Uh-huh.
like deep, deep, deep. And so, because like on the rainbow, it has the shorter frequency
Hmm.
and it's very, very intense. Like the intensity increases as the frequency shortens.
Yeah.
And then you have the bigger, longer frequencies that's less intense, but more expansive. And so, like, I can feel that when I interact with different types of color.
Right. That's cool. That's very cool. And you're feeling it in your whole being or through your
Mhm.
hands or
Just throughout, like it's just the presence of it. I can feel it.
mhm. Yeah, so it's cool that you brought that up about the rainbow and chakra colors, really,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of the color meditations kind of just bring you through the chakras, which are the energy fields in the body, and they each have a color attached to them. So it's kind of a organized way to go through the basic colors and feel them in your being, like you described.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And ironically, I'm not going to tell myself too much, but ironically, the areas that I don't resonate with as much, chakra wise or color wise, are
Mhm.
the areas in my chakras that I need to be more intentional about.
Oh, huh. The ones that kind of turn you off that you don't feel
Mhm.
drawn to.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, so your body's kind of that's kind of a tell for you.
yeah,
It
it is.
may not even just be for you. If you pursue this with healing others, you might get that same feeling where you're pulling away from
Mhm.
the ones where they're having difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really good to tune into that kind of message.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're going to continue talking about aura and we will be right back. Hey there, Wendy Jo from the Grow podcast. Today we're talking about aura, or the energy fields that surround a person's body. It's definitely strongest around the head, and especially if you're just starting out, that's the place to take a look and see if you can feel or see them. Some people see them with their eyes, some people feel through their hands the colors, and some people just intuitively know what's there. And aura can be used as a spiritual tool for healing if you want to delve deeper into the topic. I can't talk about or think about aura without thinking about my eldest son, who told me when he was young that he could see colors around people's heads, and that if the colors were really dark, he would stay away from that person. It was pretty cool that he intuitively knew that this information was valuable and helpful to his life. And we are back. This week we're talking about auras and color. And before the break, we were just talking about how Ashley perceives color, how she's feeling it, right? Feeling the vibration and where it is. So if you want to learn to see or feel auras, starting with that color meditation is great, and then really kind of thinking about color, right? So different colors elicit different things within us. For instance, let's say green, right? What are the some of the positive and negative aspects of green that you can think of?
Um, so I automatically, and I don't think this is intuitive at all, but I automatically think of the throat chakra and
Okay.
vocalization and projection and things along those lines. Um, Green also to me is very, I don't really care for the color green.
Okay.
I don't enjoy its presence.
Uh-huh. Interesting. So there could be many reasons for that, right? But
Yeah,
or starting with it's just aversive. It doesn't feel good to you.
yeah.
The could be things have happened where there was green around you that made you uncomfortable or unhappy. Um, Green can be associated with just illness in general, right? Feeling sick. Um, it can also, on the plus side, be associated with growth and plants and, all that. So it's good to explore all that and also how you feel about the color, especially if you're going to start to use auras or color healing, with other people. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, it's good to kind of go through each color, figure out which ones you're drawn to, which ones you're not. What are the positive aspects? What are the negative aspects? What are your thoughts about it when you think about the physical body, the emotional body, the spiritual body?
Hmm.
So it's kind of like just going through as many colors as possible and really expanding your mind about it. Um, and then
So how do you
figuring
feel about green?
how do I feel about green?
Yeah.
I like green. I feel like so I'm all about the heart. Like I live in my heart, and pink and green are kind of attached colors to the heart chakra, right? So
Mhm.
I think that's why I like it. Also, being a plant medicine person, like it uh just reminds me of plants. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I
Yeah.
like.
But if you ask me about orange, I don't
Yeah.
really like orange.
Okay. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that.
Orange is kind of I don't know. There's something that like I look at it and I get this in my stomach. Like and I don't know what the root of it is why I feel aversive to orange. I mean, yeah, it's just not a go-to color. So I have been trying to change that.
Hmm.
Like I bought some orangey lipstick and I'm trying to like put it around me so that I can not feel so strongly about it.
Yeah. Okay. And so when because you paint too, so
Uh-huh.
when you're painting, do you just automatically not use the color orange, or do you have to be intentional about using? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not drawn to it. It's not going to be a go-to. Like I'll use it when I need to.
Hmm.
Um, but I do think that for me, it's got to do, it's kind of like um, dealing with trauma. It's got
Hmm.
something to do with trauma for me, for sure.
Okay.
Um, but I think it's important to explore these things, especially if you want to use color when you're working with healing with other people, because you don't want to put your own
Yes.
thoughts about the color onto it. The person may have aversions to certain colors for their own reasons or be drawn to certain colors. So it's really good to just go through them all, explore it, think about it, and think about whether you want to try to make some changes with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, now that we're having the conversation, I think I want to be more intentional about perceiving color when I interpret energy. So
Yes.
I think I'm gonna take that and just see how that shows up in my life because I don't think I've ever been intentional about that.
Yeah, I think you'll learn new things about yourself and about those around you once you really tap into it.
Hmm.
And, so there's different ways to perceive the aura, and you're feeling it. You're a feeling person. Some people actually do see it.
Yeah,
If you kind of make your eyes go funny, like those paintings where you're finding things within them, you can kind of catch the aura around someone. And the easiest place to read it is around their head. That's where it's going to be the strongest, around the head and shoulders. So when you first start looking, although aura will be all over their body, it's easiest to see there. So you can try seeing, you could try putting your hands around it to feel it, or just stand near them. I bet for you, because you're such a feeling person, you're just feeling. You may even feel the whole thing and be able to draw the whole thing by just being near somebody. you
yeah,
know
yeah, definitely. And I love to write, draw whatever I'm seeing or feeling.
uh-huh.
It because I can't draw at all, so it's always quite comical, but it's always quite accurate too.
Right, and when you draw out someone's aura, like, you're gonna get the most important colors, and sometimes you see different shapes even. Like, it's
Hmm.
not just straight around. You might see a shape of some kind, and then it's intuitively sort of figuring out what that is, the shape and the color.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. um, I think once you start delving in, you get more and more. It's like when you buy a red car and then you see red cars everywhere.
Mhm.
When you start tapping in, whether you're feeling it or seeing it or just know that it's there, you get more and more.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was thinking about while you were describing that is a lot like depth of perception.
Uh-huh.
Like there's more detail, there's more is more to receive than what meets the eye or what comes natural to you and the easiest or whatever. Um, and so as you're describing like even shapes and color and frequency, like, all of those things can help with whatever it is that you're perceiving in a given time or place. So
Mhm.
I think that's why some of these conversations are important to have because not only do a lot of people not realize that everybody has a gift or that we're all spiritual beings, but for those who are spiritual, how deep can you go in being able to perceive what's around you energetically?
Right, for sure. And even, am I nuts? Like, I'm seeing like all these colors around this person, and so just by having the conversation and pointing it out, people feel more at ease to see and feel it themselves.
Yeah, and I probably mention it often, but people are maybe even scared, so they might see it, but
Mhm.
then pretend like they don't.
Right. Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
Hmm.
Agreed. All right. And we will be right back.
What is aura? In 2023, it has been my goal to enhance my aura. But what exactly is it? It's like the energy field, the presence of energy that expands beyond the physical body. Sometimes in images, we'll see it as like a rainbow around the body, or you know how somebody comes up behind you and they don't touch you, but you can feel it anyway? Or like if somebody's staring across the room at you and you can feel that? That is the aura. Sometimes aura can feel good and comforting. Sometimes aura can feel really bad. Aura perception can be different depending on how you receive the energy. So I'm curious, how do you perceive aura? Have you heard of the Cannabis Nursing School? It's a place where cannabis nursing, entrepreneurship, and spirituality meet. The High Align Tribe is waiting for you, and it's so easy to find. CannabisNursingSchool.com.
Hey there, friends. If you're an intuitive like me, you have thoughts and feelings about your own health and sometimes the health of others. What you're dealing with is medical intuition, but you probably don't know how to harness it. Hey, I met this wonderful woman named Gina, and she's doing a training on medical intuition with her company, The Heal World. Let's face it, there's lots of people getting sicker and sicker, and they often don't find answers with mainstream medicine. We have lots of technology, but we're missing the key: medical intuition. If you'd like to learn more, you could email her at gina@blisslife.com or give her a call at 352-888-2100. The Heal World. And we're back. So I have a friend, I haven't seen him in a long time, but his main gift actually was drawing auras for people and getting information. So he would sit with someone at a fair or an event and just draw what he sees. And then he would go through with the pendulum to ask why each color was there. So is this color here for spiritual reasons, for physical reasons, or for emotional reasons? So he would write that on each color, and then he would get an intuitive message for each of those. Mm-hmm. So the person, you know, wanted to know what colors were around them, and then he's kind of giving an interpretation um, along with it, which, so it's kind of, you know, it's divination tool, just like the pendulum or everything else, tarot cards, right? Yeah. And some people really feel the colors, you know, really feel them deeply in their soul and can use that information for healing.
Yeah, and I think that's fascinating that's the tool that I just honestly I think the vastness of tools to be able to connect with right. our soul is absolutely fascinating. And you know, there was a time, and I think we've talked about this before, but you know, we have all of these systematic ways of wanting to approach spirituality. And you know, what if this person sat in some sort of class and learned something completely different? Like, would he have ever found his real gift? You know,
right. It's hard to know. He's a little older gentleman, and it just really resonated with him and took off with it, you know. And I think that, you know, when a certain gift is really resonates and it's something that you can use for yourself or for other people. And that definitely happened with that. And I think with aura, for me, it's not a main thing. It's something that is in my toolbox. But when I feel called to do it, like to really write about it, like if let's say I'm doing a card reading with someone, but I'm kind of being told, hey, talk about their aura, take a look at it, you know, it's just another tool that could be helpful for certain people. Like it, maybe they resonate with color, you know. And so spirit is saying, you know, the cards are great, but I really think if you approach it from this point of view, by looking at the aura, that person will really understand what you're saying to them. The person who's in front of you is most important in this situation. So however they can receive it, that's going to help. If you stay open and tuned in, you will get what that avenue will be for that
Yeah.
person. Like they might show up because they see that you're doing, someone's doing tarot card readings somewhere, right? Like, oh, that's cool. I think I'll get a reading. But they may not really realize that they have something going on medically that needs to come out, or there's just an important information for them. And however they can hear it is the way to deliver it.
Yeah. And yeah, and I think the reason why my mind went that way was because, I'm a nurse by trade, and so we consider ourselves healers in a lot of situations, but I'm not sure if we always recognize that we're no longer healing because we're not giving what's needed. Like we're not giving what needs to be received. We're giving what we think they're supposed to have. And whether that's based on, policies or rules or whatever, from human to human, that spiritual connection is missing there, because what our role is really supposed to be is to help heal people. But it's impossible for us to do it if we don't know what needs to be received.
Right. And the tools for health professionals are not so varied, right?
Yeah.
Especially in nursing and doctors, is pills, tests, and surgery.
Yeah.
That's what you got, even though the healer themselves may have so much more they could offer. So yeah, those are very good points. And I think it's important as health professionals that we really think about this. You don't have to tell your patient that you're seeing their aura and that's why you are concerned about whatever it happens to be, right?
Yeah.
But you can find a way to give that information that how they can accept it.
Yeah. Or even just let it inform how you interact with them, and I feel like it's part of the assessment, to be honest with you. If you have the ability to do it, to perceive and connect with them in that way, you don't have to tell them what you're perceiving, but you can show up as if you perceived it so you can best help them.
Right. Right. I think it's a few shows back we talked about spirituality and healthcare. And I think we will come to some sort of reckoning with it. They finally, are allowing people to do Reiki in hospitals, for instance, or use essential oils. For whatever reason, those things became legitimized enough to use in mainstream medicine.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if we sat and talked to, the director of nurses in most places about, can we use aura readings in our care, they might not be so open to that. I don't know. Maybe some would be. We can only hope.
Right. No, I mean, definitely a stigma. I don't think anybody'd be like, yes, go on in there and read those oars. I don't think that'll happen, but I don't know if we actually need permission either, though.
Right. Right. I think it depends on the patient. And like we've been saying, do what will bring them the most healing. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's pulling in a tool like this. Sometimes it's not really talking about that, but meeting them where they are.
Yeah. Seriously.
Well, I hope everyone will get out there in the world and start figuring out how they can perceive people's auras, because it can give you so much information and help you in your journey of growth.
Yes, absolutely. This was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.